All right, here begins the we warned you, stupid, don't keep listening if you don't want this movie spoiled for you section of the podcast.
It's on Netflix streaming. Go watch it.
And it's an absolutely tremendous film, and there's no way to talk about it without spoiling it because of just the way it's built.
Yeah, no, seriously, guys, get out of here.
Okay, I
Okay.
think they're gone.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now we can ruin everything.
Snape kills Trinity with Rosebud. That's my favorite. I think I've said that before on this, which is actually relates to the film because Trinity is in this
Trinity's
film.
in it.
This movie came
Trinity
out.
and Cypher.
I know, weird, right? This came out. Oh man, Teddy doesn't look like Cypher at all. It looks like he put on weight or something. I don't know.
I don't know. He basically looks like a cop.
This movie came out when, yeah, Teddy does. This movie came out the same year that The Matrix came out, and Carrie-Anne Moss. So I saw both of these movies when they came out, and I was like, whoa, who is this actress?
And now you're like, whoa, where'd that actress go?
That's exactly what I was thinking. She has not really done anything since this. Sorry. She was in Chocolat, but I never saw Chocolat.
I saw it. It's not
Didn't see
bad.
it.
Yeah, it looks like she's done a couple other movies, but yeah. Yeah. She went away.
She went away. She went away. But yeah, I was like, oh,
The
Trinity
Matrix
was-
actually probably cursed her.
I mean, she's Trinity, right? I mean, because who saw her in anything before The Matrix? I mean, you could kind of like do the whole suspension of disbelief with Neo and be like, oh well, I get he's not really from Bill and Ted.
Bill
like,
and Ted,
he's
right.
this other guy, but he could do things after that. He had a career before The Matrix. I
Yeah, he had
never seen.
speed and yeah.
Oh yeah,
He was
Speed,
established.
He had Point Break and
That other movie that's exactly like The Matrix, Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic. We have you and me, we movies. I don't know. I'm sure that Carrie-Anne Moss probably did things before The Matrix, but I never saw
Do
them.
they matter? No.
No. So
For her career, I'm just saying, like, Hollywood is saying you don't, it doesn't matter.
Yes. Okay. Memento.
So I forget what this movie's about.
Now, where was
see what
I?
I did there?
Yeah, the movie opens with the line. Crap! It ends with "Now where was I?"
Yes.
Does it open with "Where was I?"
Um.
It's something like that.
So where are you?
So where? Yeah, but he's like, so where are you? You're in a hotel room. It's like in any other hotel room. Is that it?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So
It does this genius thing to introduce what it's going to do to you.
it's in black and white.
Oh my god! The beginning of it is just brilliant. It's in black and white.
Black and white, and it's in reverse. And the way that you know that it's in reverse is that you're looking at a Polaroid. And by the way, the one sheet poster of this movie is all of the characters going in Polaroids, like back, like just
To
look at the
infinity.
Wikipedia. Yeah, look at the Wikipedia. You're looking at a Polaroid photo, kids. If you don't know what a Polaroid is,
Yeah, that might actually break this movie in the future. People are going to be like, "What is that thing?"
I think even in 2000, it was still it was like, oh, okay, Polaroid. But even then, it was sort of like, well, that's kind of weird that he's carrying around a Polaroid camera. The film is developed, and he's doing the thing that you do with that's why it could break the movie, because people don't know that, like when you took Polaroids, that you would like shake them back and forth.
You
to
shake it
try and
out
make it
from
develop
the
faster.
bottom. Yeah.
I don't think it really did anything, but people did that. You shake it back and forth. It's got a developed picture, and he's like shaking it, and it's slowly getting less developed.
Right. And you're like, "Oh, it's going backwards. Wait, why is it going backwards?"
And then
And then you find out.
yeah, and then it slowly becomes color. And it's right before someone is about to get shot in the head. You don't know who it is. You don't know what the hell is going on. And you just see this guy. It's Guy Pearce and Teddy, Joe Pantoliano.
Pantaleano.
Pantoliano.
There you go.
And it's our hero character, Leonard, saying, oh, damn, I forget the specific line, but, like, pray to me. It's like a Batman line. It's like, you killed my wife, and he's got a gun in this guy's face, and he's like, no, wait, and then pulls the trigger obviously the guy
Boom.
got shot in the head. And then we go to a black and white scene. And you're like, what is happening? Like, and this black and white scene is totally unrelated to the scene that we just saw.
Completely.
He's in a hotel room, it's black and white, and he's on the phone. What is happening? What is happening in this movie, Shawn?
He's on the phone and he's like explaining like waking up and not remembering anything prior to waking up.
Yeah. It's really weird. And this is the biggest spoiler of the whole movie. The structure of the movie is set up in such a way to make you feel like Leonard.
And it does.
And it does, because you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that we were doing something.
You find out things as he finds them out because you don't know what happened 15 minutes ago.
Right. I mean, they throw these black and white scenes in, and the brilliance of the black and white scenes is that they move chronologically forward. So it's a plot that you can follow, and they're interspliced in the plot that's happening backwards. And the way that they join them up is the very last thing from the color scene that you saw will be the very first thing of the next color scene you see after the black and white part. So, like,
and this is why Christopher Nolan is a genius.
Genius. So, like, the one that I always think of is Leonard is in his room. He leaves his room. He talks with the manager of the hotel, and it's like, oh, I've got this condition. He's like, yeah, I know. I just wanted to see if you were screwing around with me. And then he's like, hey, if you see this guy, and it's a Polaroid of Teddy. It's like, if you see this guy, let me know. And he's like, oh, wait, who? Him? And then there's Teddy in the door, and he goes, Lenny. And then we do a black and white scene, and by the end of the black and white scene, we forget what's happening, and then the next color scene opens with Lenny, and it's like, what's happened here? Or rather, it ends with that.
Right.
I messed up how those work. Like, the next color scene is him, in his room, and and it syncs up.
They make them overlap by just the one thing that will make you remember the previous scene, and you're like, oh, okay, and now we're here again.
Car door closing. Or
a lot of it seems like those are the reasons he's forgotten things. Like, loud sounds seem to make him suddenly like, what? Oh, I'm awake. Oh shoot, where am I?
Also, one of the best scenes of all of modern American cinema happens in that structure, and it's when Leonard is running. And I tweeted this when I was watching the movie, and the people on Twitter who've seen this movie were like, "Ha, yes, Memento," and someone was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "You didn't do the homework." He's like, "Okay, okay.
What am I doing?
What am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing
this guy.
He's in the middle of running in an RV lot or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait, I don't remember what's happening. Oh, I must be chasing this guy. And then he starts running after him, and then the guy is shooting at him, and he's like, oh, no, he's chasing me. God!
I watched this with Alicia, and you said before we started that you feel like we almost could have done this without you watching it again. Mm-hmm. I could not have done this without rewatching this, because Alicia and I both remembered this movie, mm-hmm. but we remembered different things that were completely separate points in the plot, and we forgot the thing that the other person remembered.
Ew, weird.
So the thing that I remembered is why he shoots Teddy. She didn't remember why he shot Teddy, but she remembered about Sammy and his wife. And I forgot about Sammy and his wife.
I remembered both, but I was obsessed with this movie when I was
I've probably seen this movie twice, and the last time could have been 10 years ago.
I mean, I don't think I've seen it since then, but I saw it 20 times when I saw it when it came out. I mentioned this to Shawn when we stopped recording last week. I had the special edition of this, and I hated. I said this on the podcast. I hated the special edition because. And the reason why I hated it was they tried to make you feel like Leonard or something in the UI of the
by disc. Using the menu.
but by messing around with the menu so that you would click on something and it would take you you would click on it looked like his chart and you would click on here's a needle and you could click on it and it would take you to like the special features and you'd have to like there was this whole section where it looked like a test and you would have like three options and whatever the result of and it was like three screens and whatever the result of the three things you picked that would take you to another part of the menu, so you'd have to know like if I want to watch the movie I have to pick triangle and then square and then bunny, and I'm like, I hate you, this is so annoying.
Aren't you glad that the early days of DVDs are over now?
Thank God.
People can stop messing with the technology and just remember like, oh yeah, people bought this to watch a movie.
Ugh. So, the thing that I think makes this movie so great is that the linear story is actually really good. Like, you could do this movie as a movie chronologically, and it would still be like, oh, this was a good movie.
According to what I read on the internet, your special edition DVD allows you to do that. Have you ever watched that?
I haven't. It's sacrilegious.
I have no idea. I would find no reason. There would be nothing better about it, and in fact, it would actually ruin a lot of the things that make it so good.
Yes, like the story itself is good. It's a man who, he can't make new memories, and he decides to seek out revenge. Like a lot of this movie is about revenge. He decides to seek out revenge.
Yeah, it's very much a neo-noir, like cookie cutter, except with a hero that can't remember stuff.
Can't remember stuff, and he actively decides to seek out revenge against maybe Teddy isn't a close friend of his, but someone who's been helping him because he's pissed off with him, and then he uses his handicap to and fudges some of the details of his investigation to make sure that he ends up killing this guy, and then you would see it unfold, but we get to see it unfold backwards, and each little morsel that Nolan gives out to us, we learn a little bit more. Like I love us learning about Natalie. It starts out we think that she's this kind of scrappy street girl who Leonard's been helping out, and then we're like, oh, they were actually sleeping with each other, and then oh, she has this boyfriend who is going to get her into big trouble, and then the big reveal, like, oh, someone killed her boyfriend and he's not actually alive, and she's using Leonard to kill someone else. Like, oh my goodness, the scene when she is going off on Leonard and is like, I'm gonna use you and you're not even gonna know it because you're I can't say the words that she way too inappropriate, but like you're because it's gonna be so much better because I told you, and because you're a freak you won't even know, and you just like see the like anger and
her character's quite an actress herself.
Yeah, and you think back to all of those previous interactions, and you're like, she knew the whole time, and
I liked when we got to the first scene where they met, which is the last one where we see her, is the one where you see her realize that he's not joking, that the condition is real. When she hands him the mug full of spit that even he spat in, and he doesn't remember spitting in it.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, you're serious.
Yep. And then throughout the movie, mostly in the black and white parts, we learn about Sammy Jenkins, who...
Remember Sammy Jenkins?
Yeah, he has that tattooed on his hand. Sammy Jenkins is played by Stephen Tobolowsky, who is a great actor, but he's mostly gets like second and third rate roles.
Yeah.
He had amnesia. He doesn't have anteroretrograde amnesia or whatever that's called, but he had experienced amnesia, and that was one of the reasons why he got the role. Because he could bring like some real life experience with amnesia. one of the biggest reveals of the movie is that Sammy Jenkins was not the guy. His story is not the story that Leonard tells. Sammy was just a con man
Right.
who, you know, was trying to game the system. And that the story that Leonard tells about Sammy Jenkins was actually the story of his life.
And he had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. His wife was raped by, a criminal, but she survived. And
she was diabetic.
She was diabetic. And that incident caused Leonard's condition. Obviously, he can't make new memories, so this is all mixed up in his head. It's all messed up in there. And he killed her by, because she was trying to see if she could bring out the real Lenny. But she couldn't, and that's heartbreaking. Some part of him, I mean, he talked about habit a lot. You have to have habit and ritual to like live a life like this. He wants to try and find the person who killed his wife, but he killed his wife. So he made an impossible puzzle for himself
He killed his wife, and if he is actually just seeking revenge of the guy who attacked her, according to Teddy, he already did.
Yes.
Teddy tells him, we found him. We killed him over a year ago. You did it. You have a picture of you glowing in the aftermath of that event, and you don't remember.
And yeah, and it's in that moment when Leonard decides, he has a human moment of like, I'm really angry at Teddy and I want to kill him. But if he had a memory longer than a goldfish, he wouldn't have actually done that.
No.
But he decided in that split second, like, I am going to.
He made a rash decision and he forgot.
Yes, because he can't remember. And he altered the facts of his investigation so that he would eventually kill Teddy. And he knew that he would, but then if he had
he knew he would for 10 minutes.
Right. But then in the next 10 minutes it was all new and it was all something new for him. And I mentioned this last week. This is the first movie that I can really remember where I was like, wow, this is a crazy thing that you can do with storytelling that I've never seen before. And it's really amazing.
And I don't think you can do it again. I think you can do movies that are like out of order. Pulp Fiction is a great example of that. That movie's all over the place. But just doing it like this with a guy who has amnesia and going backwards, you can never do this again without everyone being like, why are you ripping off a Memento?
Exactly. Well, and Christopher Nolan didn't do it again. He did it once.
He's come up with some other good ideas since then.
He's had some other amazing ideas, and we're going to talk about them in the future.
We should mention that he wrote the screenplay for this, so the actual execution of it can be credited to him, but the story itself was written by his brother, who has also written The Prestige, and let me find it. He co-wrote The Dark Knight, and he co-wrote Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, Jonathan Nolan. He wrote a short story called Memento Mori, and it's the same idea, but it wasn't. It
wasn't presented like this.
No, it wasn't the whole like back and forthy thing.
This is only something that can exist in a movie.
Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough in a book because you would really get lost. You would get much more lost in a book. Like if you had to like do the narrative of this.
The visual medium helps you keep track of what's going on. Yeah,
like you remember just enough to be able to keep it together. In a book, I think it would be kind of a hopeless mess. So, big thumbs up on this one. This is just like a master at work. And outside of his like quasi student film Following, this is basically Christopher Nolan's first movie.
Yeah. He came out swinging.
Bravo, sir. So, what are we covering next week? We're doing Insomnia?
We should do Insomnia.
Also on Netflix streaming. Very different movie. based on like a Dutch movie or something?
It
Have you looked into this?
is. I just looked at this. Based on a 1997 film. It definitely, those names look Dutch or something. It was also called Insomnia, 1997 Norwegian thriller film.
Let's watch it.
Okay.